Yuji has become a lot stronger in the recent chapters and picked up some unique techniques that might just put him in the top 10. Some people even think he could take on the entire Jujutsu Kaisen gauntlet. In this video, we're going to see if Yuji has what it takes to conquer the gauntlet. But before we get into it, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of my daily uploads. Now, let's begin. Alright, the first thing we need to do is figure out who's in the top 10 strongest sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen. So let's dive in. Starting off at the number 1 spot, we've got Sukuna. No surprises there, he's been dominating the power rankings since the start. At number 2, of course, we have Gojo. These two are pretty much untouchable. Now, for number 3, we have Kenjaku. I know some of you might disagree, especially since Yuta technically defeated him. But hear me out. Yuta did beat Kenjaku, but he had to jump him from behind. Despite that, Kenjaku still managed to react quickly. Plus, Yuta didn't beat Kenjaku alone. Todo had to switch Yuta's position, using his boogie woogie technique to catch Kenjaku off guard. So yes, Kenjaku is stronger than Yuta. On top of that, Kenjaku has a domain expansion that we haven't fully seen yet, but given that he's the second best when it comes to barrier techniques, just behind Tengen, we can assume his domain is more refined than 98% of other sorcerers in JJK. That's why Kenjaku takes the 3rd spot. Now, moving on to number 4, we have Yuta. He's undeniably powerful, but I can't put him above Kenjaku just yet. For the 5th spot, things get tricky. Some people might say Kashimo deserves it, but I personally think Yuki could take that spot. So let's break it down. Kashimo's curse technique gives him incredible speed and agility. His technique actually exceeds human limits, transforming his body and allowing him to mimic lightning, which gives him insane power. He can even use sound-based attacks and electromagnetic waves that erase anything in their path. The narrator in the manga specifically said those electromagnetic waves can erase anything they hit. Still, with all of that, Kashimo fought reincarnated Sukuna and got packed. Now before you get mad, I'm not saying Yuki wouldn't get packed too, but Kashimo's curse technique makes him one of the strongest. That said, let's compare Kashimo and Yuki. Hypothetically, yeah, Kashimo could speed blitz Yuki and hit her with his electromagnetic waves, which could win him the fight. But here's the thing, Yuki has reverse curse technique and Kashimo doesn't. If Yuki lands even a single punch on him, the fight could be over. Just ask Kenjaku. She broke his arms with 1 punch, even though his arms were reinforced with cursed energy. Kenjaku only survived because he healed using reverse curse technique. Kashimo doesn't have that luxury. 1 punch to the face or arms and it's done. So if Yuki lands a solid hit on him, it's game over. And let's not forget, Yuki also has a domain expansion. If she activates that at the start of the battle, it's basically a guaranteed win. Now, Kashimo's only real shot at winning is if he can land those electromagnetic waves all over Yuki's body right at the start, which is a long shot. Plus, Yuki can create a black hole, which could end the fight in a draw, but she probably wouldn't do that because it would destroy the entire world. So in my opinion, Yuki wins the fight in most scenarios. The fight could go either way, especially if Kashimo manages to land those electromagnetic waves consistently. That said, I'll put Kashimo at number 5, mainly to avoid all the Kashimo fans from blowing up the comments. Yuki will take the number 6 spot even though in most scenarios, she either wins or it ends in a stalemate. And one more thing, no way Kashimo was seriously considered the strongest 400 years ago. Come on, if Kenjaku was around back then, there's just no chance. I honestly believe Kashimo only got that title because of a technicality. Maybe people didn't even know about Kenjaku at the time. It drives me insane to even put him in the 5th spot, but I'm doing it just to avoid Kashimo fans from blowing up the comments. Let me tell you, in my mind, Yuki is without a doubt top 5. And Kashimo, he's 6th. And that's being generous, but here I am just trying to dodge the backlash from all these Kashimo stands. But to play it safe, I'll say it again. Ashimo's at 5 and Yuki's at 6. I'll leave it up for debate. Alright, moving on to the 7th spot. Normally I would place Yuji here, but since he's the one running the gauntlet, I'm gonna go with either Toji or Maki. I'm honestly not sure who should take this spot. But because we've seen Maki actually go up against Sukuna, I'm going to give the 7th spot to Maki. Now, I know some of you might argue that Hikari should be here instead, but I disagree. A lot of you will probably say that Hikari can't be killed because of his ability to regenerate during his jackpot, but that's not entirely true. If Maki uses the split soul katana on him, she could defeat him. Why? Well, it's unclear if Hikari can perceive his soul and heal it. If he can't, Maki wins. Plus, his domain isn't really lethal. It just plays a song, gives info about his jackpots, and lets him win jackpots, none of which would actually harm Maki. Maki, who doesn't have cursed energy, wouldn't be affected by the domain at all. Domains mainly target those with cursed energy, since Maki and Toji are pretty much equal in terms of power, both of them having insane physical strength and no cursed energy. I'm putting Maki in 7th and Toji in 8th. Now for the 9th spot, it's a bit tricky. It's between Hikari and Urame. Honestly, I can't really say which one is stronger. In the manga, Hikari only won because Urame basically took herself out, so I'm just going to put both of them in the 9th spot. Finally, for the 10th spot, I'm giving it to Yorozu. Now that we've wrapped up our top 10 list, let's quickly recap who made the cut. Here's a clear rundown of our top 10 rankings, starting with number 1. Sukuna claims the top spot, followed by Gojo at number 2. Coming in at 3rd is Kenjaku, and Yuta takes 4th place. For 5th, we have Kashimo, and Yuki is at 6th. Maki lands at 7th, with Toji just behind at 8th. In 9th, we've got a tie between Hikari and Urame. And finally, Yorozu rounds out the list at number 10. This should give you a good overview of who's in the top 10 and their rankings. If you don't agree with my top 10, it might mean you haven't been keeping up with Jujutsu Kaisen, but either way, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the rankings. Now let's go over the abilities of Yuji, the one running the gauntlet. Just to be clear, I'm not going into detail about Yuji's techniques since I already made an 11-minute video on that topic. You can find that video right on your screen if you want to watch it first. For now, I'll just list all of Yuji's techniques for you. Yuji has blood manipulation, cleave and dismantle, reverse curse technique, soul dismantle, and a physically gifted body similar to Toji and Maki. His efficiency with cursed energy has improved, and he also has a simple domain and a domain expansion. Additionally, he can perceive and heal souls and hit black flashes almost at will. If I missed anything, please let me know. Now it's time to decide whether Yuji can run the gauntlet. First up in the 10th place is Yorozu. Now Yorozu was able to fight 15-finger Sukuna, although it's important to note that Sukuna wasn't even trying. Now let's explain Yorozu's abilities. She can recreate any substance she recognizes except for special cursed tools. The downside, it burns a ton of cursed energy, making it less efficient than most techniques. She also has liquid metal armor, which enhances her strength, speed, and durability for close combat, while still allowing her to control liquid metal for mid-range attacks. Then there's her true spear, a perfect untouchable spear that generates infinite pressure. Add to that her domain expansion, threefold affliction, which can use her true spear for sure hit destruction. Now how does Yuji beat her? We can all agree that Yuji's faster and stronger than Yorozu, right? He's got his own domain expansion too, though we don't know how refined it is yet, so if it comes down to a domain battle, it could go either way. But since Yuji is stronger and faster, if he uses his soul dismantle technique, that could be the game changer. We know dismantle can cut through almost anything, and since soul dismantle is lethal to reincarnated sorcerers, Yuji could slice through Yorozu's armor and take the win. I'm giving this one to Yuji. Now, moving on to number 9. Yuji versus Hikari or Urame. Let's start with Hikari. In this battle, Yuji's got the edge, and it comes down to one thing. His soul punches are the perfect counter to Hikari. Hikari's jackpot lets him heal almost instantly, faster than even Gojo during that time. But here's the thing Hikari doesn't actually know how to use. Reverse curse technique. It happens automatically because of the infinite cursed energy he gets from jackpot. Some might argue that he could heal his soul just like he healed from poison, but that's a whole different thing. Healing poison and healing soul damage are on two completely different levels. Even Sukuna, the king of curses, couldn't heal his soul without actually sharing a body with Yuji. Without the ability to heal soul damage, Hikari's jackpots won't save him from Yuji's attacks. Sure, he'll get the boosted stats and rough cursed energy, but Yuji's got his own reverse curse technique and those soul punches that Hikari can't recover from. And if Yuji lands a soul dismantle, it's over. That's why Yuji's one of the best counters for Hikari. Now let's move to Urama. The biggest problem Yuji will face with her is her ice. If she traps him in her ice, it's game over in an instant. The only way Yuji can counter this is by using a simple domain, since we know that simple domains can weaken incoming attacks. Plus, we don't even know if Arome has a domain expansion. So in a domain battle, I think Yuji takes the win. If Yuji activates his domain at the start of the fight, he'll have the upper hand since Urama doesn't seem to have any way to counter it. Now, let's move on to number 8, Toji versus Yuji. To start, Yuji is comparable to Maki in terms of strength and speed. And during that 1 month of training, we know Maki got even stronger. This means she may have surpassed Toji, and since Yuji is relative to Maki, he might even be faster and stronger now due to his cursed energy manipulation. Don't forget, Yuji kept up with Maki when they both fought 15-finger Sukuna, and since then, he's gotten even better at using cursed energy to boost his stats. Now, about domain expansion, it won't work on people like Maki or Toji. The real advantage Yuji has over Toji is his reverse curse technique, soul punches, and soul dismantle. Any damage Toji does to Yuji can be healed with reverse curse technique, even if Toji uses the split soul katana. Yuji can perceive and heal his own soul, so he'll recover. Plus, with Yuji's soul punches and dismantle, he could deal real damage to Toji. Some might ask, but isn't Toji's soul stronger? Sure, Toji has a stronger soul because he was summoned into another body and took over it, but that doesn't mean he can defend against soul attacks. And as for the inverted spear of heaven, it won't do anything to Yuji because it only nullifies cursed techniques, and Yuji doesn't rely on many of those. His soul punch isn't a cursed technique, so Toji wouldn't be able to counter it. As for blood manipulation, it's not Yuji's main form of attack. It's mostly punches, kicks, and targeting the soul. And currently, Maki has better scaling than Toji. While Maki managed to sneak attack Sukuna and Maki is considered equal to Toji, there's an argument that Maki might even be above Toji now. She was originally stated to be equal to him after completing her heavenly restriction and awakening, but since then, she's trained for a month and gotten stronger just like everyone else. So it's possible that Maki has surpassed Toji, and with Yuji's improved cursed energy efficiency, Yuji might even be stronger than Maki at this point. So in my opinion, Yuji wins against Toji. Now let's move on to number 7. Maki versus Yuji. As mentioned in Yuji versus Toji, Yuji wins here as well since Maki and Toji are pretty much on the same level. But Maki is a bit stronger than Toji and Yuji is pretty much stronger than Maki. Now here at number 6 is where things get tricky for Yuji because he's up against Yuki. There's not much Yuji can do against her because, let's be real, if Yuki lands just one punch on Yuji, the fight's over. Even when it comes to domain battles, Yuki probably has a more refined domain expansion. We haven't seen it in action, but given her curse technique, we can assume her domain is deadly. She's been a sorcerer for a long time, and over the years, she's likely improved her cursed energy efficiency and refined her domain. It's safe to assume she's at a level where she can match or surpass Yuji in speed and strength using cursed energy. The only thing Yuji can rely on against Yuki is his soul punches and dismantle, but there's something to consider. Yuki is the one who gave Shoso the book on souls, and Shoso passed that knowledge to Yuji. Since Yuki's the source of this information, she might have a defense against Yuji's soul attacks. But let's say she doesn't, and Yuji manages to land those soul punches and dismantles. Well, he wins. But if Yuki has a counter to those, then she'll win. I think it's possible that she has some way to defend against soul attacks because of her deep knowledge of souls. I'm not sure who would win here, so you guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments and explain your reasoning. But let's just say Yuji somehow manages to beat Yuki. Now, we move on to number 5. Kashimo. Yuji versus Kashimo, how does that go? Well, let's be real, Yuji isn't faster than Kashimo. If we look at the fight, hypothetically, even if Yuji tries to land his soul punches or dismantle, Kashimo can just dodge and keep hitting Yuji with his electromagnetic attacks. The problem is, Yuji won't be able to land enough blows to seriously hurt Kashimo. Maybe he gets in a couple, but Kashimo's speed is just on another level. Now, if Kashimo keeps dodging and dodging, eventually Yuji would have to open his domain. Once that happens, the sure hit effect of his domain would take over and Kashimo wouldn't be able to escape. Remember, Kashimo doesn't have a domain expansion or reverse curse technique, and using a simple domain wouldn't help much. Simple domains just aren't strong enough to hold up against a full domain expansion for very long. Yuji did something similar against Sukuna. When Sukuna kept dodging Yuji's soul dismantle, Yuji realized he wasn't going to land a clean hit, so he opened his domain, letting the sure hit effect do the work. If Kashimo tries the same strategy of dodging, Yuji would just do what he did against Sukuna, open his domain and win. The only way Kashimo could take the fight is if he manages to hit Yuji with a supercharged electromagnetic wave before Yuji even thinks about activating his domain. That kind of attack could erase Yuji before he gets the chance to defend himself. When it comes to Kashimo versus Yuji, the fight could really go either way. Kashimo has the speed and power to give Yuji a hard time, but Yuji's domain expansion gives him a huge advantage, especially since Kashimo doesn't have one. If Kashimo did have a domain expansion, he could probably defeat Yuji, but without it, I'd give the win to Yuji. Now let's move on to the 4th spot, Yuta. There's no real debate here, this is where Yuji's run ends. There's just no way he beats Yuta. Yuta has a more refined domain expansion that completely outclasses Yuji's. And on top of that, he's faster. Plus, Yuta has Rika, so if Yuji were to fight him, it would be a 2v1 situation. With Yuta and Rika working together, Yuji doesn't stand a chance. So this is where Yuji's streak stops. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about these top 10 rankings and where you think Yuji would stop. Anyway, please tell me your thoughts in the comments below and please subscribe to my channel and turn on all post notifications so you don't miss any daily uploads.